This is the Political Spotlight.
The political spotlight is a joke. It's more like a political flop.
Nobody listens to Bilbrey.
He's just a wannabe podcaster. No one takes him seriously.
He is a rude, crude dude that will never go any further than broadcasting from his mother's basement.
Bilbrey is a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians.
Grab another box of Twinkies and generic cola, Bilbrey.
And get back to your microphone and your audience of nobodies.
The political spotlight is a joke.
It's more like a rude, crude dude that will never go
Bilbrey's a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians. Shut that stupid Bilbrey up.
Oh my, we don't have all the lights. Hold on, give me 1 second. There we go. Let there be light. Let there be light. I knew it. I couldn't do it with half. I felt like we would have been lopsided all night. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are just a little bit late. I apologize for that. We had an unplanned event that I went to, and we had to attend that. All the candidates down in Henry County, obviously we've been following what's going on down there as long as we've been, as well as we've been following Delaware County and Randolph County and Madison County and at the state level, everywhere else in between. And they put on an event down in Knightstown, and a sneaky little snake contacted me earlier in the day. And they advised that they were under the impression, from everything that they had seen and heard, that Henry County Sheriff's candidate Randy Howard was going to be in attendance. And not only was he going to be in attendance, but he was going to be participating in the event. And I also heard that they were going to allow question and answer period. And I thought, oh, no. So about 2:30 or 3, out of the blue, I found out that I would be attending that. And so I'm just now getting home. That's why we're going a little late. I apologize for being late. And I also apologize to our guests. So a little bit of housekeeping here, just to let you guys know. This evening, the show will be as follows. Up here first, and at the start, we're going to talk with a candidate, and we're going to be talking with her in just a moment. Then after the candidate interview, we're going to then move into coverage of the Knightstown Forum. It was interesting. Needless to say, it was definitely an interesting event. And then after that, at the end, we're going to cap off with some talk about the upcoming Muncie City Council meeting. So we have, again, another full evening, and we will get through it all and bring it all to you in spectacular form. The candidate that we are talking to tonight is a candidate that I've been following for a while, but we have never, we've spoke in the few times that it took to set up this interview, but never really talked to her before. I know of her. I know, where she works and that she's been involved in the county and whatnot, but have never really talked to her much in the past. So it's going to be a pleasure getting to talk to her for a first time for an extended period of time. But that candidate is Republican Sheri Chafin. She is currently the Chief Deputy of the Delaware County Assessor's Office, and she is trying to move from the Chief Deputy's position into the elected position for the assessor. And our longtime assessor has decided to not seek re-election for like the first time in 500 years. He's moving on to seeking the election for the recorder's office. I heard that he said that he wanted to try and transition into retirement, so he was going to take a little bit more, a little bit calmer office, I guess, is what I've heard. So that left an opening there. And there are 2 Republicans that are currently running for this seat, Sheri and her opponent, Adam Kovault. I have reached out to Adam, but I have not heard back from Adam at this point. So we are going to talk to Sheri. Sheri is a lifelong resident of Delaware County. She's worked in the Delaware County building for a number of years, 21 years, 16 in the assessor's office, 5 years in the Delaware County Prosecutor's office. Prior to that, she is married to a Muncie City fireman, and I'm sure we'll get all of the biography information there. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and bring Sheri up and get into the candidate interview. So welcome, Sheri. I'm glad you're here, and thanks for being here with us.
Well, thanks for reaching out and asking me to come.
Absolutely. So just starting here at the beginning, for those of us, as I said, that I know of you, but not too much. Let us know a little bit about you, who you are, and why you decided to run.
Well, I'm a lifelong resident in Delaware County. I grew up in Daleville. That's where I met my current husband. That was my high school sweetheart. And we moved out to Harrison Township. We raised our children here. We were very active, like in the ballpark. When the kids were little, Jason ran the ballpark, and I was right in there with him, and we coached and things of that. I also got locally involved with my township. So I've served about 12 years for the Harrison Advisory Board as a member, several years as a president. But we came out here and raised our children that are now adults. I've served the county for about 21 years. 16 have been in the assessors, and about 5 years I was an investigator in the prosecutor's office. In the last few years, the current assessor, James, came to me and asked me to be his chief deputy. I thought I was going to have a few more years longer with him. I think he kind of thought so too. But so at that time, I kind of was possibly thinking about, well, I know eventually he's going to retire, so that might be something I might be interested in. And now that my kids have grown up, I have more time like that. But he kind of surprised me when he came to me more recently and said, hey, I'm ready to retire. So then I had to gear up real quickly while planning my daughter's wedding at the same time. So that was crazy.
You're saying you're running an election and planning a wedding?
Well, we got through the wedding in September.
Okay.
So we're over that hurdle. So it was nice to finally just have one focus.
Yes, absolutely. that could be a nightmare. Wow.
Yeah. So what really just kind of got me into it, I think serving for 21 years and what I've seen, the things that I feel like that we do well, the things I feel like we can improve upon, just my years of experience and knowledge. I've had previous years prior to even being in the assessor's office, I was always involved in real estate. I used to be a title abstractor, and basically that's just a title searcher that goes out and runs your chain of title and is pulling all your taxes and your liens and your mortgages and that sort of thing. So I did that for probably 10 years prior to going into the assessor's office. And a lot of the skills that I learned in the title business really helped me get my foot in the door at the assessor's office. And I just kind of worked my way up through the years.
Yeah, absolutely. You're saying that you figured you'd have more time with James. I got to be honest. I just kind of always assumed James would always be in the office. He's been around for a very long time, and
you and I and the office full of women very much feel the same way.
Yeah, that's right.
You might not always agree with your assessed value, but one thing you can say about that man is he is fair, he is accurate, and you can walk into his office. That's something I always admired about him. From day one, he would come out and wait at the counter just along with his employees. That I can have a lot of respect for somebody that's going to stand alongside you and do the job as well.
Well, I will tell you, that I feel like we talk, there's specifically this time, there are a lot of candidates that are running for positions in which specifically politics shouldn't play a role. Judges, prosecutors, sheriff, things like this, and an assessor to me is very much one of those offices.
Absolutely.
And I go ahead.
No, we should be unbiased. Yeah.
Yes. And I've always respected James. Kate, my producer, put up here, assessor has to be the position in government that probably pisses the most people off. And it's funny because it's at the same time, while that's probably true, it's the office that a lot of people, while you know about it, you just don't think. I mean, you think about, the mayor, the commissioners, council, things like that. But the assessor's kind of an office that most people don't really think about that much. And, while it is very impactful on people's lives, it's kind of a strange office. You're an office that it's not a constitutional office in the way that you're not termed. You could be a person to be the assessor for as long as they want to run. And that speaks to your James, speaks to his ability. You don't hear many people challenging. I mean, there's been many times where he's ran unchallenged.
Yes.
And so, he's done a great job. And if you carry on, hopefully you'll carry on a lot of the principles you've learned underneath James.
Absolutely. I've absolutely learned from the best. I think I will run things a lot like James, but I think also just having the 20 years I'll have my own style to it. I think for me personally, I want to be more of an advocate at the state level. I think communications we could communicate better, because we're the eyes and the ears for them, basically, and I'm telling you every day what, the things I'm hearing, from the taxpayers themselves, that they're really unhappy with what they're seeing right now. And it's frustrating. And I understand those frustrations because I've heard them throughout the years, and I feel them too as a taxpayer.
Sure.
But we do have to follow state statute. And I think another thing, a lot of people, they don't understand the assessor's office and what we do. A lot of people don't even know what the assessor's office is. And you probably wouldn't until you're a homeowner or until you're internally working in it. But there's a lot of education. I think people just don't realize how assessments are figured. And I think once they come in and we kind of get to chat with them and explain things a little bit better, then they kind of, I see that, I think when we say, we've got to have a value on that property that is going to be the open market value.
Yeah.
So once we can get that idea, wrapped around their head, then they're like, oh, I actually think I could sell my property for more, and I'm not saying that's always the case. There's outliers out there, assessments that need to be looked into. But for the most part, I feel really confident about our assessments.
Absolutely. And so if you would, I'll come back to that question. So talk a little bit about the training and or certificates or schooling that you need to have to hold the elected office. So it's true that anybody, I've never been in real estate. I've never been in banking or financial. I could run for the office, as could anybody else out there that's, meets the minimum requirement of being 18, not a felon, living in the area where you're running, and you could be elected. But then what has to happen to make me at that point okay to continue holding? What do you have to have?
Okay, so by the time you take office, you have to be a level 1, level 2 certified assessor appraiser, and that's with the state. Then once, if you're a first-time office holder, after at least that first term in that 4 years, you'll have that time to go and get your level 3, which is a series of 5 different tests. So there's several tests to get to that level 3.
Okay.
But I am currently the only candidate on the ballot who has my level 2.
Okay. Okay. And I was getting ready. Wasn't trying to get you to speak negatively one way or another, but I did. That was important because I think people need to know that.
No, that's just
both
facts.
people. Yeah, just factual information. So you are the only candidate on the ballot for this office that currently has that level.
Yes.
What kind of process is it to go through to get that training?
Or to
get that level, or that certification?
There's several different ways. It is a course that you can take on your own time, study at home, drive down to Indianapolis, take your test, or you can go in and go for a week for a cram course and then take your test at the end of that week. That would be your level 1. Same way with your level 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have to keep up continuing education classes. I think you got to keep 30 every 2 years. So you're constantly in webinars or going to conferences to, keep your continuing education hours up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I think that's important for people to know. It's not the exact same as, say, being prosecutor where you have to have a law degree, but it is important to know that that there are those requirements and people.
And I think that's why you don't see. That's another thing I do. Like, I know a lot of people don't want to see people in politics lifelong. They want term limits.
Yeah.
But I would have to argue in the assessor's office, I don't want that because, to be honest, it's hard to find the people that are qualified to be the assessor. There's not very many people with their levels out there.
Sure.
It's hard enough to find them to get in our office and work for us, let alone. Yeah.
Yeah. How many people work in the assessor's office? What kind of office staff size do you have?
So total, there's 9 of us, and that's including James. We have a gal that works strictly in our with our appeals and reassessment. She's our board secretary. And then the rest of us are downstairs in the main office.
Okay. Okay.
And we've got all level 2 certified, just one level 1, but everybody else has their levels. And that's come a long way because when I first started, the only person who had any levels was the assessor, was James.
Okay. Yeah.
But that was before we combined with Center Township years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a question here, and obviously there are lots and lots and lots of factors. So, I'm just talking, at the major, far out macro level, just to try to kind of give an understanding. Have someone says, my property taxes have went down, and while 2/3, while other citizens' taxes have went up that, the same amount. Why does something like that occur? For people who don't have an understanding of, why sometimes it makes people feel like it's happening all willy nilly and there's not really any said reason. Explain that if you can to people.
So there are a variety of things. It could be, I'm going to say location, where you live at versus your neighbor, because it depends on the area you live in, what your market is reflecting out there. Because nobody can deny homes out in Yorktown are going to be valued higher because they're selling higher. Could be tax rates. It could be something that was voted on in a referendum. Maybe somebody had a school project going on.
Oh yeah.
Things of that sort. Also, I always tell everybody, don't compare taxes to taxes because you don't know what exemptions the other property owner has versus yours. People, if you're wanting to compare assessments, I tell people, if you don't agree with that value and you feel like if you were going to put your home on the market that you it wouldn't sell for that, then start looking in your area at houses around you. Look at what their assessments are. If they're comparable to yours, same lot size, year built, square footage, that sort of thing. That will that will give you a good indication, like, hey, we live in a neighborhood where all these homes were kind of built about the same time on the same size and things like that. If you start looking and saying, hey, theirs is 20,000 less than mine, that's a red flag, you know?
Yeah. And for the people that might not know, go through the process of what if someone has an issue and they don't think that it's, something's wrong here, and they go through the process. What's the process that people have to be able to protest this and to maybe see about getting something done?
Okay. And I'm glad we hit on that, because that's the really important part that I've been trying to get out recently, is because a lot of people miss the deadline. So every year, it's the same time of year, your assessor's office will send out, it's called your notice of assessment. It's a Form 11. So that notice of assessment we have to mail that by May 1st.
Okay.
And then if you don't agree with that value, you have the right to file, it's a 130 appeal form, and that would have to be done by June 15th this year. So we're actually getting ready to mail those out on the 30th, and everybody will have till June 15th. If they feel like that value is not correct, they need to come in and see us.
And then when obviously there's lots of different ways it can go from that point, but just kind of on a generic level, if I come in and see you and say, hey, I've got a problem with this, what happens at that point?
Well, first of all, we're going to pull it up and we're going to pull your property record card, and we're just going to take a look at it with you, because we always want to make sure that the information on that property record card is correct. Sure. Square footage, your bill, any outbuildings, that sort of thing. We're going to look over that with you. And then from there, I might pull up there and start looking at the area and see that, see if I see that we had some sales in that area. Because right now, when people come into our area, they're going to be able to come in, and I'll be able to look at the area they live in. And I'm going to be able to tell if it was the cost schedules that were updated at the state level that increased their assessment.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to be able to tell if the market went up in their area.
Yeah.
Or it's also, there's some that's went down.
Sure.
There's some that trended down.
Yeah.
It just depends on where you live.
And I got to be honest, I called, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, I called James, and it was very easy to deal with. You guys, your office, and I mean, I'm sure that there are people out there that have issues and say, oh no, because that just happens, it's you're going to have all kinds. But I have found, and I think I've only ever called him once, but I called and he was very easy to deal with. And it was a very easy process to go through. So yeah, I thought it was, I was kind of shocked at how easy it was, honestly. Yes.
And I know it, as a homeowner, you open up that tax bill and you're sweating it,
Yeah.
That process should be easy. You should be able to come in. That is our job to serve you. It is our job to look into that and investigate that further. Now, sometimes you might not agree with us. We might say, it's where it needs to be. It's actually maybe a little bit below where it needs to be.
Right.
But our job is to serve you and take care of you and answer those questions for you. And that is something that I take great pride in, is serving the community. I've done it for many years. I enjoy it. And I want to make sure that when they come into our office, that they get great customer service and they get the answers and the guidance they need.
Absolutely. So what is, when you're going around and talking to people right now, and I know that there's a lot of uncertainty about what's happening with property tax, and everybody's just kind of, at the county level, local level, things are going crazy. State level, there's a lot of confusion. What are people talking to you about? What are you hearing? What are the biggest issues that you're hearing from citizens?
They're upset. they're upset with their assessed values. They're upset with their taxes. The way that our deduction exemptions and things are handled has changed recently. I don't want to go too much into anything outside of assessments, but I will say, I feel like it doesn't feel like it this year, but from my understanding, our taxes are going to get lower in the next 4 years. It's just going to take some time for it to adjust. But that's hard the last 2 years to open up our tax statements and see what we're seeing and believe that, you know. But I kind of think the state was trying to make sure we got all our values up to the open market so that this adjustment could start to take process over those next few years, you know?
Yeah.
Where you're going to see a deduction by a certain percentage in your taxes. But honestly, it's a little out of my element and new to me, so I don't know that much about it. But I think in the long run, I think we're working to get there. It's just we're not seeing it right now. It's going to take time before it reflects in our tax bills.
Yeah.
But that's hard for people to swallow
Sure.
right now.
Absolutely.
You know, I understand
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, 100%. What are, you know, we've talked about a lot of good things with the assessor's office. What are some things within the assessor's office that you think need to change or that you would hope to improve upon?
We've gotten better since, especially I think since I've become the chief deputy with cross training. I think that's needed throughout the county. You know, it's training and within the county buildings, you know, it could be improved upon. I think communication with other departments, at the state level. And I think something that we're currently working on that I'm really excited about is our new website. So we're going to be able to have a lot of information for people to pull up, that they're going to be able to print up a form or look at it right in front of them, instead of us having to kind of talk them through the DLGF website to find certain forms that they need. They're going to be able to go to our website, and right there, it's going to be for them. That's going to be nice.
Yeah.
And we'll have more information to come, you know, where hopefully maybe you won't have to go on Beacon to search so hard for the sales data. You know, maybe we'll have it right there on that web page, and that would be great.
Yeah. I think that'll be a good thing. You know, anytime there's improvement in the website, that should offer more availability to citizens and help meet citizens where they are. I always think that's a good opportunity to do better. I like the idea that when you said that you would also open up lines of communication and be willing to advocate more at the state level. Talk a little bit about that. I think that's really important, and is really important that the state legislature and others at the state level hear from the county assessors, who, you know, you're like the go-between, right? So, because a lot of them, I'll be honest, they're hard to communicate with. A lot of them, if you call down there, you're not calling them, you're calling the representatives, secretaries, or their interns. And if you're emailing, they're getting that. You're not really communicating with the specific representatives or the state senators. So it's kind of like you're the go-between almost. And so talk a little bit about what you're hoping to achieve with that, what you'd want to do.
Well, personally, I just think you got to kind of hold yourself accountable. And I think all the assessors have to. I just think that we've got to step up and reach out to our local state legislators and let them know what we're hearing and what we're seeing. And I think, unfortunately, I kind of feel like at least your taxes that just went out, we're all kind of scrambling because there was a lot of changes. And I think we just need to have better communication so that we can pass along knowledge and get people properly trained in a timely manner. hopefully have those discussions that need to be had before we see the results in our tax statements and we're like, oh, that's what this entailed. And now we're kind of backpedaling because we're seeing the ramifications of it, Yeah. I just think better open communication.
Yeah, absolutely. Cap assessments that would make a difference. What's your thoughts on that?
And with the DLGF as well, Yeah. And that's why you attend all those conferences and all those seminars,
Yeah. 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 So, what about, we keep hearing the county talking about different things. Of course, we just heard the other day they're getting ready to raise taxes in the next couple of years. And there's always the fear of, we've heard various people talk about the possibility of either hiring freezes or layoffs or dealing with different things. What are ways that you could help streamline things in your office, or maybe, obviously everybody's always being asked to do more with less. So, how is what you guys are doing, going to fit into that kind of issue or process? What are there ways that you guys can work within that more for less type of mentality?
There are some areas that we could streamline, but I have to get elected first before I can tackle that or answer those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I don't want to give all the goods out yet. But, after 21 years of watching local government, believe me, I'm a very conservative girl. And I watch our assessor's budget better than my own checkbook.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
That is I take a lot of pride in that,
Yeah. Yeah.
We're getting by on bare bones.
Okay.
I don't make the girls check out any supplies or anything like that, though.
There's a lot of people in county government that does that padding the budget deal and getting to the end of the year and saying, all right, well, we've got this little extra here. Now can we use it for this? And it's kind of like, that's really frustrating. So that's as long as
I'm just trying to make what we have in supplies last for the year,
Right. Yeah, I hear that. I've been in county government, so I definitely understand that.
Yeah. But there's not to say there ain't wasteful spending out there. Hey, I've been around long enough. It's there. I've seen it. Sure.
So when you're going out and talking to people, just kind of winding her down here, what are you saying? What's your sales pitch for yourself, your stump speech? Why should the people of Delaware County go to the polls either in early voting the rest of this week or Saturday or Monday or on Tuesday, May 5th? And why should they vote for you over your opponent?
I would say my years of experience and knowledge, first and foremost. And I've been serving you, and I love doing it. I would please reach out to people who I've worked with over the years. I take great pride in my work and serving the community. Other things that matter to me are qualifications. I feel like if you're going to put your name on the ballot, you should show how serious you are, and you should, have all your certifications when you're going to put your name on the ballot. I also believe it's important when you're going to vote for your next assessor that that person is ultimately responsible to put the value on your property that's going to affect the taxes for every farmer, homeowner, retiree, businessman. I want somebody vested in my community that's owned a home and been paying taxes alongside me.
Sure. Absolutely.
I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. the Admiral Eric said earlier, he said that he likes your campaign sign, your color, and I will tell you, that's one of the most frustrating. I hate political signs. I absolutely detest political signs more than anything else, but your signs they're doing their job, because when you see the color, first of all, everybody does like the same thing, red and white, blue and white,
Yeah.
the same colors, the same motifs. And your color, first of all, is very readable at far distances. My father owned Muncie Tent and Awning, and we used to do the graphics on a lot of different things, and they call it 60-mile-an-hour art, letters and graphics that you can see going by at 60 miles an hour. And even for people who can't read your signs, they can see the color motif and realize, it sticks what it is. And so,
well, that honestly means a lot to me.
Yeah.
That's because my colors were picked. I picked those. The red is for my father, who is now passed, and the blue is for me. And I love America, and I was going for the red, white, and blue kind of retro.
Retro. That's he did say that. He said, "Can she keep the 50s era color pattern? The office, if elected, it seems to be from a more trusting time."
Oh, awesome! My kind of people.
Right.
You tell him thank you.
Let me. We will end on this, because I have asked specifically some of the candidates in Delaware County, and just whatever you feel to say about this or not. Or do you feel? Because this, to me, this is something that I fight against, fight for people. I want more and more people to be involved, more people running for office, more people getting out and supporting candidates and getting out to vote. Do you feel, how has your experience been running, I guess, as far as everything with the party? Have you had an easy time, bad time? How's that going? Everything going all right with that? Or have you been faced like a barrier to entry or anything like that?
Well, it's kind of my first rodeo. I've always been behind the scenes, like supporting either James or helping somebody else, or when you run also for Harrison Township Advisory Board, you're not campaigning. But it's been great. It was very nerve-wracking, because it's very much out of the box and element for me to do what I'm doing. But I thought it was very important, and I wanted to continue what I was doing, so I was going to fight for it. But I haven't had any problems, other than, the boys are a tough crowd.
Yeah. Well,
but
yeah.
It is what it is.
Well, absolutely.
Hoping to shake it up some.
Yeah. Hey, that's the way you got to get in there and bust it open and
but
say,
no,
I'm going to be here whether I want it or
just
not.
Fine.
Yeah. Well, very good. I appreciate you coming on and talking with us. And as I've said to everybody else, you're welcome back anytime. Chances are there's not a Democrat running, correct?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. So I don't see that changing, but obviously if it does, you'll be welcome back in the fall if you are successful on Tuesday, and we will follow the election and see what goes on. Good luck to you, and we'll see what goes on.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Take care.
All right, you too. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sheri Chafin, running for assessor as a Republican. I do want to say that before we go, the on the screen is her Facebook page. If you want to get with her and ask any other questions, you can ask her questions there. Or if you're interested in signs or anything like that, you can do that. I will say that I have asked her opponent to appear. I gave him the same invitation that I've given everybody else. I have not heard back from her opponent, and we're getting close to the wire here. For those that want to know, I feel like her opponent is getting a lot of support and backing from the Brand Cants club, and so that kind of team and network. I don't know that specifically means anything one way or another. I do think it's interesting because Sheri works in the assessor's office, and Sheri has claimed and told us right here on the program that James asked her to run. I'm really wanting to talk to her opponent because her opponent is making the same claim. Her opponent is doing the exact same thing. So I'm interested in kind of understanding, how he is claiming that, if he could explain how that situation has come to be. I think that would be very interesting to find that out. And to answer your question there, Stumblefoot, I wish you would set up debates instead of interviews. Back in 2019. So I'm going to say this here really quickly. I was talking to somebody tonight at the candidate forum, and I've got to be honest. I've said it on here. I hate these candidate interviews. They are time consuming. They cause me so much anxiety. Because first of all, I don't like doing half the job. So if I have 4 people running for an office, whether they're, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, 3 Republicans, 1 Democrat, whatever the deal is, I don't like doing just half of the job. So if I've got 4 people running, I don't like talking to just one candidate. That to me leaves that it's unfinished, and that bothers me in my weirdness, OCD, or whatever I've got going on. It makes me have so much anxiety. And people say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Just do what it is. Just do what it is." But I will tell you that it just always bothers me that I cannot get it all laid out there. So I hate doing this. The other thing is, if I'm talking to all of these people, 90% of them are going to piss us all off, and we're going to be griping about them when they're elected anyways. And so it's a bunch of niceties. I just went and listened to this candidate forum, and I listened to a couple of these prosecutor candidates that are running down in Henry County, and just their overall speech, they were so performed. It's like rehearsed. It was like they were giving opening and closing arguments. And it just seems so theatrical and over the top. And I'm just like, yuck, like so much of this bullshit where they're just out here promising, oh, we're going to do this, and I'm not going to raise taxes, and I'm going to do this or this or this, or you've got to elect me before I will tell you. I'm like, no, dude, you gotta be kidding me, right? Like, I want to be me. I want to be nastier to these people. And when people might say, woo, nasty, what I mean by that is I want to be like, cut the bullshit and let's talk real. But here's the deal. If I do that, nobody will come on. And I attempted to do everything that I could back when I very first started this. When I first started broadcasting, I was coming at politics like I do in my personal life. As someone who's been involved in politics, as an observer, somebody that likes listening to talk radio, somebody that likes getting the message out and giving my thoughts and my opinions. I am not a journalist. I'm not giving you just the facts. I'm giving you my opinion based on my years involved in politics. Okay. And so I never really had any intentions of, doing the journalist thing and giving you, straight down the middle, just like, let's just play it safe and let the people talk. Well, then a bunch of people wanted to hear from the mayoral candidates back in 2019. And I said, okay, well, we can do that. We were having a big mayoral race, and I was trying to break in and get my name out there. So I said I would do it. And it was pretty cool. And then after I did it, this is all Darla Barber's fault. Darla Barber started calling me and emailing me and texting me and messaging me and Facebook messaging me. I did not know her or Audie. And she's like, you ought to do the council candidates. You ought to do the council candidates. You ought to talk to my husband. You ought to talk to my husband. And I was like blowing her off and ignoring her. And finally, she was contacting me long enough. I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I got the council candidates to come on, and everybody came on. And I did everybody in that 2019 mayoral race and in the city race, the municipal race. I did the council candidates, the judge candidates, the clerk candidates. And then once those people really got to knowing who I was and that I called people out for bullshit and I wasn't just going to play nicey nice, people started doing that nonsensical thing. Well, we're not going to answer. I'm not going to come on. Maybe you're going to be mean. Ooh, what kind of questions are you going to answer? What are you going to ask me? Can I see the questions ahead of time? And I'm like, no, you can either come on or not come on. You're running for office. You should be wanting to talk to every person possible. And if you think that I'm some big, the parties, well, that's the other thing. There were parties that the independent parties started forbidding their candidates to come on. The Democrat Party, the 214 in Delaware County, along with the Democrat Party in Randolph County and the Republican Party in Randolph County, started telling everybody, do not go on there. They told their candidates, you are forbidden from doing his show. And the Democrat candidates that year all got together. And they were like, are you doing Bilbrey? Are you doing Bilbrey? I'm going to do Bilbrey. Well, if you do Bilbrey, I will. If you're not doing it, I won't. And so they all did. And the Republican candidates came on. Well, then the Republican candidates started getting all their panties in a wad because I turned on Ridenhour. Ooh, I turned on Ridenhour. And it's like, give me a break on that. First of all, if you're running for office and you think I'm such a nightmare, okay, if you think that I am such a nightmare, come on and change my mind. Come on and make me change my mind. Make what I'm saying about you, prove me wrong. Tell everybody that I'm an asshole. And if you as a politician can't come on and fight back against me, then you are a weakling. Okay? And so that's first of all, that's the problem there. And then in this race, we've got just idiots being idiots, and I don't like that. So that's the biggest issue. So when I asked them after 2019, okay, once I asked them in 2019, once they started deciding they were going to run, everyone said, no, we won't come on and do a debate. I will not come on with my opponent. And everybody said that. So then I thought, okay, well, it's better to have people on and let people be heard in some form and let the people watching decide, are these people authentic? Are they not authentic? You can tell the real people. When you go back and you watch the interview that I did with Duggar, the first candidate interview I did, the commissioner candidate down in Henry County, that man is authentic. You know what? He's like, we can talk about Henry County politics, or hell, why don't we talk about Delaware County politics? I could have talked about that man. We could have talked for 2 hours about Noah. I could have talked to that guy about some sports, or we could have talked about music. He didn't care what we talked about. He just likes talking. That dude is a real authentic person. Okay? David Williams, like him, don't like him. He's blunt. He is what he is. He's an authentic person. Ryan Webb, You like him, you don't like him, whatever the deal is, he's an authentic person, okay? If you like him, you like that he's authentic, you like the things that he says. If you hate him, you hate him because of the things that he says. He is who he is, and he's that person 24 hours a day. He's not selling you some bullshit to get elected. Quite opposite. He's being who he is, and you'll like it or you won't. And so that's the thing. So probably what I'm going to do is after this election, I'm probably not going to do these again. What I'll probably do is invite on only the people that I truly like and support. And other than that, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not going to talk to just random people. Let me tell you, I am so overly disgusted. Okay, I am so overly disgusted by the candidates. Look at this. You should have turned on right now. I supported him the first time, allowed a sign in my yard. The second time, I would campaign against him for anything in the future. Yeah, right. You know what? And here's the reason people should turn against him. Because he's not what he promised. He sold us all on a bill of goods. He sold us all a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of horse shit. Communication, transparency, accountability, putting the very best people in place. I think we still got it on here somewhere. Do we, or did I finally get rid of it? Right there it is. This is like one of the very first things I put on here, or Kate did, or somebody did. Improve communication, improve transparency, improve accountability, slow government down, improve relationship between the city and the county, put the best people in place. And he has done none of that. But number 6 is the biggest laugh, joke, riot that there is. He's done anything but that. And it's just absolutely nonsense. Just nonsense. Absolutely crazy. But let me tell you, yeah, right. But so let me tell you this. I'm really disappointed in a lot of people, and we'll go over all these eventually. But I'm specifically going to talk about these people tonight. Kyle Allen in Randolph County, okay? Jeremy Bell, Christy Brock, Kathy Eek, okay? Kathy Eek, Christy Brock, Jeremy Bell, Kyle Allen, all right? These people are letting on like they are like hardcore, literally, seriously professional people who's running for office. Running for office. But they don't know how to work email. They don't know how to operate text message. They have social media pages that they don't answer. None of these people. You want me to tell you who should be elected to the Henry County Prosecutor? Here's my belief. I'm going to tell you my belief. I think Tony Saunders should be elected to prosecutor. He's the only one that had the balls to come on this program. He's the only one that had the professionalness to be able to answer an email, to respond via text, respond via Facebook, respond via email. All right? He's in the real world. Kyle Allen didn't tell me no. Jeremy Bell didn't tell me no. Christy Brock didn't tell me no. Kathy Eek didn't tell me no. They're too stupid. They're too stupid to answer their lines of communication. And you know what? They're like, well, that's unfair. That's unfair. He's saying that. We didn't even get his communication. Well, you know what? I can prove that I called, that I text, that I emailed, that I sent this to your social media. And if you'd think if you're a candidate running for office, you would be checking that stuff, or you would be having somebody check it, and you would be getting back to people. And if you can't do that, you probably shouldn't be running for office, and you sure as shit shouldn't be the prosecutor of a county. I'm just letting you know how it is. Okay. Moving on That was my rant there. I got so much more about that rant, but I'm going to wait to the end of this because I'm going to come unglued. When we talk about this stuff at the end of this process, I am going to come unglued. Okay. Just let you know. Okay. So, let me get this figured out here. 1 second. I want to put this up here. Whoops. I knew I was messing that up. Good thing you're done with just any old. So I do want to answer this really quickly. I want to answer. I know that Ryan asked. First of all, I'm sure Kate and others have answered this, but I do want to answer this. So, question to Ryan. Ryan knew had asked about Adam Kovalt. He has not been on the program. I have invited him on the program, and he hasn't told me no, but I have not heard anything back from him. So as of right now, he's not been on, and we are near the end of this. Wayne Scaife just asked about Richard Ivey. Ivey's opponent was on. Ivey's opponent. You might like him. You might not like him. Maybe people say, oh, he wasn't as charismatic as other people. But you know what? He was a real person. He was a real person. He was a down-to-earth, just real person. And he's got, he's been involved and done things. And, he knows the political process. You know what I mean? So as far as Richard Ivey was invited. Richard Ivey might have been one of the very first people that I asked. I talked to Richard Ivey personally on a phone call way long ago when he first announced. And I'll be honest, I've talked to his campaign manager, Josh Talby, several times. Talby keeps telling me that he'll talk to Richard. I'll let you know. We'll know something soon. I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know. He texted me at 2:00 in the morning the other day and was going to tell me something. But no, nothing. Other people, literally other people are talking to Ivey about coming on. And Ivey's like, I'll find out. I'll let you know. So no, Ivey's not been on. I would have Ivey come on. First question I'd want to know is why in the hell did it take so long for you to make this happen? What's the deal there? That's the very first thing I would say to him. So it is, no, Ivey's not been on, and it's sad. It's sad that these people won't do this stuff. What are they hiding? What, the very worst case scenario, you come on here, and I'm just treating you like a right asshole. I'm being a bad guy. I'm being mean. I'm cursing. I'm just yelling. I'm screaming. You know what you can do? You could just easily do this. It's not hard. It's easier than a phone call. Ooh, Bilbrey's being mean to me. It's not like I'm gonna trap you in a basement somewhere. I'm not even having you come here live. Hell, half these people I wouldn't invite here. Sounds like they aren't confident enough in themselves to carry an interview. I've never understood when people say, oh, I don't want to go to that event. The Democrats are putting that on. Ooh, the Democrats, we're not going to go to that interview. MAGA's putting that on. Wait a minute. You're running for office where if you win, you're going to be representing these people. But you're telling me that you don't have enough intestinal fortitude. You don't have enough belief in your ability, in your thoughts, in your side, that you can't march into the lion's den and defend your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings, your platforms. You can't go in and try to change hearts and minds. Get out of here with that. They perform. Yes. They prefer the short format, 2 minutes at a time, because they aren't running with ideas. They're running with for a paycheck. That's exactly correct. Yes. Yeah, Ivy was on WMUN. You know, they'll go on places like Steve Lindell, because Steve Lindell says, radio buddy here. I like your tie. Get some coffee. Slide over to that microphone. Let me ask you a bunch of questions that don't matter to shit. You know, that's what'll happen. They don't talk about anything real. You know what? And I'll be honest. The number one reason I hate these candidate interviews, you want me to tell you the number one reason I hate these candidate interviews? Because I'm pissed off at myself. Because I don't ask real hard questions. Because if I did, these idiots wouldn't come on. I'm like, why don't I do that? I don't want them to come on anyways. So I ought to just have somebody. I'm freaking the candidates that are still in line. I'm freaking them out right now. Because I ought to just have somebody come on and be like, so, your party chairman really sucks, doesn't he? Let's talk about him for a little bit. He's legitimately having a meltdown right now on social media, fighting a girl. Let's talk about what a ridiculous bitch he is. What do you think about that? And Sheri Chafin would be like, but
that would be fun.
That would be amazing.
That would be so much fun. I am loving this idea.
Yeah, right.
Who's next on the docket?
I think tomorrow is Jason Williams from the sheriff's candidate in Henry County.
Delaware County guy.
Yeah. I don't know. It is what it is. Okay. So, on to tonight's, radio buddy Steve Lindell's like local Jay Leno, except even worse. That's right. That's right, Stumblefoot. That's right. And we don't ever talk about it. What kind of gift basket do we need to send you? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Let's talk about this event tonight down in Knightstown. Jack, I tell you what, I have wanted to play that so bad. I wish that we didn't have the copyright issues that we have, that YouTube doesn't let us do stuff like that. That so kills me, because I would play Coward of the County for Randy every time I talked about him. Dude, that's so amazing. So, all right, let's talk about this. So, big, I hope you do these interviews for next year's candidates. What is next year? Next year's for city. I tell you what. I will do this. I might not do the big interviews with everybody, but if you run, I will certainly have you on. And depending on who you're running against, we'll invite them too. But I will definitely talk to Wayne Scaife any day. You don't even need to be running. I'll have you just come on and talk. I'd be fine with that. You can start with Dan. I would ask Dan to come on anytime. Dan is so afraid of his own shadow because Bilbrey could be hiding there. Little does he know, there's no way I could fit in his shadow. Even after all these forums and interviews, I still have no idea who to vote for prosecutor at this point. Well, I'm telling you, I don't know, and I don't know what your thought is of me saying Tony Saunders. But I got to say, for me, it's a Tony Saunders. I finally was able to hear what these prosecutors all had to say tonight. Dude, I mean, from Kathy Eek is a Karen. I'm just gonna be honest. She scared the living hell out of me. Kathy Eek is just one of those insufferable people. I wanted to say women, but I thought that might be offensive. I guess I'll say it. She's just an insufferable woman. I can just tell. She's horrible. Christy Brock is playing a part. She's probably a nice person. Probably a nice person, but she's playing a part. Kyle Allen seems like he needs some more time in the prosecutor's office. He shouldn't be, he might be prosecutor one day, but not now. And I got to tell you, I'm just going to say this, and this is probably, I don't know anything about any of these people because they wouldn't come on. Tony Saunders was the only one that would come on. I don't know what the deal is with Jeremy Bell. There's parts about Jeremy that I like. I'm going to say that I think here's what needs to happen. Saunders needs to be prosecutor and Jeremy Bell needs to be his chief deputy. That's what I'm going with right now. And we can talk later about why with everybody, but that's just where I'm at this moment. Okay, so let's talk about this. So I find out tonight, like just a little bit before 3, that there is a candidate forum in Knightstown today. And some people that told me this said, hey, Randy Howard is going to be in attendance at this candidate forum. And he's not only going to be in attendance, he's going to be participating. And I was like, oh, crap. I don't care what's going on. I got to go to that. So I was like, where's it at? And they're like, oh, it's in this gym at Knightstown. You got to go down there. And I was like, okay. And I've been to Knightstown several times, but I've never been into the area of Knightstown. I've always been like the main drag. So I'm driving in Knightstown. And I pull up to the gym. Okay, cool. And I met with several people there on the outside. Rachel Clark and Ryan and Steve Duggar. Of course, they're all family. And so I met Steve, and Randy was on the outside of this thing. Randy was on the outside of the gym. And so I was like, wait a minute. I want to talk. This will be the first time I've had a chance to talk to Randy since he's disappeared after we ran him off here because he was all the bullshit he was doing. So I was like, dude, I got to get out and ask him where my lawsuit is. Because the last time I heard from Randy, he threatened me with a lawsuit and said I was going to be sued and all this stuff. So I was like, dude, I got to ask him where my lawsuit is. So I started my little recording device and we started to walk up that way. And of course, there's all these candidates that are coming up and talking to me. And I'm like, hey, he was standing outside going, oh, hold on. Damn it. I knew better than that. He was standing outside going like this. Whoa! And jumping and making all sorts of things. Okay. It's great. Ronnie was there. Soft hands. That used to be a fighting words back in the day. There was a time in my life that I had calluses from swinging sledgehammers, but then I went into law enforcement, and ever since then, yeah, my hands have become quite soft. I'm dainty. You know, I shake so many hands, so I go through a process every night. We put lotion on them, put them in bags, hold them up, do things like that. Yeah. Very, very, very long process. So we're on the outside of this building, and I see old Randy. Randy's there. And I get my recorder going because I'm never sure, like what's going to happen. Never sure what's going to happen. So you got to be prepared always. Okay. And Randy outside tweaking. He was outside doing something. So I go up to we're getting close to him, and I walk up and I say this. Still waiting on getting served, Randy. I'm here. You got it? Got it? Your lawsuit?
You will get one.
All right. All right. So I walk up and I say, hey, still waiting on that lawsuit. Still waiting on getting served, Randy. Still waiting on getting served, Randy. You got it? You got it? And we're like smiling. He's smiling. I'm here. You got it? Got it? Your lawsuit?
You will get one.
All right. And then he says, you will get one, and standing with his hands in his pocket. I tell you, you never trust a man who stands with his hands in his pocket. Never trust a man who stands with his hands in his pocket. I can never, ever forget. We're sitting there. Me and Brandon are doing a show one night. Got Brandon on. Brandon Rudd. And we got a video of a candidate, it was a third house event. So J.D. Prescott and Scott Alexander are at the front of the room. And J.D. Prescott is standing at the front of the room with his hands in his pants and got them in his pockets, just standing there like a little weirdo. Like, and I go on this like 10-minute just tirade about what a weirdo he is, that his hands are just in his pockets and you can't ever trust a man without his pocket, just going crazy. We hit play and the video pans over. In the very next frame, it's Brandon standing with his hands in his pockets. And I'm like, oh, I take back everything I said. I didn't mean any of that. Well, sometimes a man just has to stand with his hands in his pockets. I love Brandon. Anywho, so Brandy's up there doing that weird thing. So the first thing I do is go up and ask him, where's my service? I haven't been served. Lawsuit. And he's like, oh, you're gonna get on. You can count on it. You're gonna get it. And I'm like, okay, I bet I do. Then Rachel or somebody opens the door, and I literally hear somebody say, hey, there's Christopher Bilbrey. And I will tell you, it's like the needle skipped. And everybody like looked, and then like people were like coming, and it freaked me out. It really, 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 really freaked me out. And so I tried to escape all these people coming up to me. Please, for the love of God, I will tell you, one person there, two people, I take that back, two people did it right. Ronnie Williams stuck his hand out, shook my hand, and told me who he was, and I appreciate that. And Chase Heinhold's, the person that's really Chase Heinhold, you pull off Chase Heinhold's mask, and it's really his father-in-law, J.B. Chapman. And J.B. Chapman came up and made sure I knew who he was. And I think it was like hey, I'm the guy that you've been talking about, that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, and you are you running for janitor? Like, who are you? You know what I mean? Like I blew it off like I don't know who you are, whatever. Okay, it don't mean nothing to me. You're a big fish in a small pond, bro. That don't mean nothing. But then everybody else just comes up and inundates me, but they don't tell me who they are. And I'm like, dude, I don't know who you are. You see me, I talk to a screen names. If you come up, introduce yourself. Say, hey, I am this person, or this. If you don't want to tell me your name, if you want to tell me your screen name, that's fine. But just let me know who I'm talking to, because it really does something to me. So I ran off to the bathroom and tried getting into the bathroom, but what's his name? Prosecutor candidate Jeremy Bell was trying to figure out how to work the bathroom, and I don't know what was going on there. It was very strange. But anyways, he finally figured that out, and so I think he was stuck in the bathroom is what the deal was. But I couldn't get in, he couldn't get out, and it was whatever. Anyway, so I got in finally and got calmed down, took a breather, and yes, that would be perfect. I would know you instantly. And so then this program got started, and I was like, dude, this building looks really amazing to me. Like, I love this. This could be in a movie or something. And I'm like, dude, why does this building have, like, man, these people are really obsessed with the movie Hoosiers. Like, Jeremy has Parkinson's. Does he really? Well, I didn't know that. I mean, I don't think that was any of the reason. The door was just weird. It was a weird door. Matter of fact, when I went into the door, I specifically didn't push it all the way because it does this thing where it locks you in, and it was so I just shut it just a little bit. I just wanted to go in to put water on my face. I didn't have to use the bathroom. I just went in to cool down because it got like a little overheated. So then I find out, this is the, I did not know. I find out that, oh, hey, this is where they filmed Hoosiers. So then I'm like, okay, well, that's crazy. That's nuts. Yeah. You tell me that. I'll know who you are. Would love it. Yeah. I love meeting people. I just want them to tell me who they are. But so we get seated, and like instantly, like I didn't care about the forum anymore. I was just replaying Hoosiers in my mind the whole time I'm sitting in there. And I was figuring like how I can get that big picture off the wall that's got Gene Hackman in it. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. I want to live here. I think I might move to Knightstown. I love that place, dude. That was really, really wild being there. I loved it. I'd never been in there, and that was awesome. My brother's been there a lot because he loves sports and obsessed with all that. I didn't know that's what that was. I thought it was awesome. I could have spent I could still be there. It was amazing. So we sat down in the stands. They literally let me hang out in the stands. Dude, it's wild. It was so cool. I was amazed. I was like, could we shut these people up and just let us sit here for a while? That was awesome. That was very cool being down there. So, okay. So, we weren't doing there. And so the very first thing they say is, we're going to go through these candidates, and they had the Knightstown candidates go up first, and the Knightstown candidates went up, and they spoke. Okay, and so that was cool. And so let me see where we are here. We have this on video, I think, if I can get it, if I can get everything worked out here. I didn't video this. This is videoed from Mr. Kevin Ritchie filmed this, and I'm so thankful that he did, because I'll tell you why here in just a moment. So I want to jump forward and see who these are. Okay, those are the candidates for Knightstown. We'll go through this. If anybody from Knightstown wants to hear this, you can go to Kevin Ritchie, and he has this on his Facebook page. I have not really followed the Knightstown race, so we're going to go past this. I've heard from I've heard from different people, but we'll just let that be. Okay, so the first people that I really cared to hear was the Henry County Prosecutor candidates. Okay, I'm going to pull this up here, and I'm going to try to. Okay, there we go. We'll figure it out this way. So let's listen to this. So one of the first things I got to say, and it was so unsettling. I think the Chamber of Commerce or something put this on, and they were all nice people there. But the guy who was putting this on, he let him talk for like 3 minutes or something. And he didn't tell us, or I didn't hear, but he was going to give them a warning at 30 seconds when they had 30 seconds left. But here's the catch. He didn't say 30 seconds left. He'd say, yes, ma'am, or yes, sir. And I thought we were in church, because here's what's going on. Yeah, praise Jesus, 30 seconds. And some of them, I thought the same thing. So this first woman was talking, and she was, Christy Brock, and man, she was very performative. And so she's just in this speech, it's impassioned, and she's talking about how her life has forever been changed by this molested victim. And then right in the middle of it, this guy goes, yes, ma'am. And I was like, I thought we were having a something going on. I thought it was a revival. I didn't know what was happening. I thought I'd been touched. I was like, dude, you gotta let us know what you're doing. I about shot him. It was real crazy. I didn't know what was going on. It was nuts. And so then still it took me a little bit to figure out what he was doing, but I was trying to figure out, I've never heard anybody do that. The way that he let you know that you had 30 seconds left is he would yell out yes, and then ma'am or sir. Very, very odd. So, all right, here we go. Can't really hear what she's saying. All right, so I'll paraphrase it for you. Let me tell you, and I'm really mad, and I'm really mad and disappointed at everybody up there except Tony Saunders, because I reached out to all of these people in ways in which, listen, say no, thank you, and be man or woman enough to do that. But to just not understand how to work across the board your emails. And it's not like they didn't want to. It's like these people just never got them, I guess, because they didn't know what they were doing or how to figure it out. So I'm not okay with that. So basically, she's not a prosecutor currently. She used to be a prosecutor. She now works for DeFore Varan, and she's like, I was touched by a molestation victim, and it really, I learned that I needed to be her eyes and her ears and her voice and be a voice for the voiceless. And it was just very, very, very performative. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so she goes on. Then the next person we hear from is Jeremy Bell. And I like Jeremy Bell. I like what he had to say. This is him. See you, Alva. Ray, you just about got flagged to somebody else. I'm glad you said what you said. That picture just about got you flagged. Okay, yeah, no problem. And I told you you would like it. So you can't hear him. That's kind of sad. I was hoping you'd be able to hear him. Let's see if you can hear. Let's see if you can hear. Eek! Yeah, Ronnie, I left right before that happened. Sproles is such a weirdo. Can you hear? This lady thought a little much of herself. She was out of control. I'm telling you, it's for me, it's Tony Saunders as prosecutor and Jeremy Bell as chief deputy. That's where I'm at.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tony Saunders. I appreciate you coming out here to hear us talk. What we want to do. I've been practicing here in Henry County since 2005 when I was sworn in. My family has roots going back to 1869 in the county. I've been in the county since 1986, graduated from Shenandoah in 1995. In those 20 years, I've represented countless people in a vast array of cases, one of the most challenging family law cases. And I like family law cases because they keep me in court, they keep me going to court, sharpening my skills, honing my skills for trial and turn, which I've done very well. That delivered a lot of success for my clients over the last 20 years. I've also represented several people in criminal trials.
This opportunity to come and meet people here that I don't see every day.
All right, you can. We can hear Kyle Allen, but I'm not going to do that because we couldn't hear from everybody else. So you can go try to listen to this. That's disappointing. Well, the main thing is we're going to jump forward here and we're going to go to the next round because that's just video one. That's video one of 3. Okay, so the next video is the sheriff's race.
My motivation for running for county sheriff is I've investigated a lot online. I've read stories out in Indianapolis about Henry County that we don't get to see in our own community. I said last night or night before on the podcast that we have a very weak outlet in Henry County for local news. So that leads me to go elsewhere. And I encourage a lot of people in here to do the same thing. But my big motivation for running for county sheriff is the amount of
I got to be honest. Both women for prosecutor just not. It's a no for me. It's just a no for me.
Sexual misconduct, I should say, that's been over the county in the last.
I've got mics that I put up. I've done that before, and I don't care if they like it or not. I'll do it. But I didn't take any recording equipment because I knew this was going to be in a gymnasium, and I knew it was going to be shitty. And so I was just like, I just went for myself to talk about because I just want to see if Randy was performing.
I'm old enough, I actually had grade school here and had PE class in this room. So it's a little more nerve-wracking for me to speak in front of people I know than it is to stand in a room full of...
Here's the deal. I'm going to tell you something. If I was speaking, if I was any one of these people, if I was through that closed door and you were videoing me without a microphone, you would hear me. I would speak to where you could hear me, okay? Listen to me. This is very, very, very serious, okay? It's interesting to me that so far the only real person that you can hear from is Landon Dean. I think that's interesting to me. That's interesting. You know, if you're running, you need to speak so you can be heard.
Newcastle. However, it's a shame that this room isn't full. This is an important election for many different races, and it's a shame that it's not full. So I ran 4 years ago and lost, and I run on some of the same things that I ran on back then. Proactivity, the police department has to be out there. Things don't happen if you don't go after them. Things aren't just going to fix itself. You have to have an active department. You have to promote that. But also, remembering the Fourth Amendment within guidelines, you need to be a role model for your officers. It's one thing to stand on TV and on the internet and say things and then go and do something else. You have to be a positive role model. One thing that somebody's never called me, and that's lazy. I have not been lazy. I started in public service when I was 18 years old, and I have to stop. Some people think that it's time for me to stop, but I want to go until I'm 65 and 61 now. So I'm not stopping for a while. A couple of things that haven't been said, disappointing that need to be said.
This is really interesting what he says. Okay.
But look at all these sheriff's candidates. This is unheard of in an incumbent race to have this many candidates. People want to change. There are some people that want to change. And nothing against Mr. Sproles at this point. This is what we see. We see these many people running in against an incumbent sheriff. That should say a lot right then. I've heard a lot.
This many people have come out and are running against an incumbent sheriff, and that should say a lot, and I absolutely agree. And again, for the record, about Landon Dean, I'm going to say this, and I feel like this is very important. I do not know Landon. I do not know him, okay? I know, I mean, what I mean is we've not been friends, lifelong friends. When I started digging around in Henry County, that's the very first time I ever met him. The very first thing I ever heard when I started digging in Henry County is Landon Dean is dirty, Landon Dean's bad, Landon Dean's gay, he's a child molester, he's done all this, he's this and that. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I started digging into Landon hard, looking for information, looking for people with sources, and I heard all kinds of stories. But every story I ever heard was, I heard this from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from another. Somebody saw something, saw somebody seeing something else that saw Landon doing this. I heard that he was arrested. I found no arrest report. I heard he was locked up in jail. There was no booking or mugshot. I heard he's been charged. There were no formal charges. I've been given the name of a police officer that allegedly arrested him during a crazed man-on-man sex prostitution sting. The officer said, I don't know why I'm being drug into this. I did not arrest that man. I do not know that man. I've never made a police report on Landon Dean. I've never contacted a Henry County Sheriff's Department for arresting one of their deputies. That's just never, ever, ever, ever happened. I've talked to people that hate Landon that have said the stories about, and I don't know if he's gay or not gay or whatever. And to me, that has nothing to do with anything. I'm just telling you what I've heard from people in Henry County. I've talked to somebody that does not like Landon at all, that says the only reason that Landon gets all of this is because people think that he's gay. And in Henry County, gay means immediately that you're a pedophile or gay means that you're connected to, sex crimes or whatever. There are people in Henry County that have made victims out of people. And I think that Landon gets lumped into that, possibly because people question his sexuality. I don't know anything about it. I've talked to Landon lots of times at this point. I've never asked him. I've never needed to ask him. I do not give a shit what he does in bed or who he does it with or why he does it or whatever. That's somebody else's problem, not mine. I have asked and asked and asked and asked and asked, and I will say it yet again tonight. If somebody out there has something on Landon Dean, contact me, message me, call me, text me, and you don't have to go forward. You don't have to be public. I'm just asking for somebody, because and every time I ask this, somebody says, oh, I know something. I know somebody that knows something, and they will contact you. And then nobody ever does. I've said this probably 100 times by this point, and I'm not knocking anybody that's heard rumors. I'm just saying that's how things start. Landon's name was in the some of the lawsuit paperwork, just as being on duty when some stuff happened. That doesn't mean he knows anything. Landon was not a named defendant in all of that sex stuff, and there were a lot of people that were named. I find it interesting that Landon was not named. The fact that that all happened and Landon wasn't named is interesting to me, because it seems like if that was the time, that would have been the time. If Landon was a part of something, that would have been the time to attach him. So, I get, we've all heard stuff. I'm just saying, I've never been shown proof, and I looked for 2 years, because when I first was looking, I was looking to try to bury him. I was trying to bury him, and I couldn't. I never had the information. So that's just where I stand on that.
On the internet lately, but
I did see, and I got people sent it to me. I got a picture of it on my phone because people send it to me every year. And the thing about feet on the head, first of all, was it wasn't little girls' feet on his head, and it wasn't little boys' feet on his head. It was all grown men. It was all grown men. Had he been in a pool with women, nobody would have said anything. But because he was in a pool with men, and people see that and think, oh, God, I wouldn't have anybody's feet on. I wouldn't have a woman's feet on my head. You know what I mean? But that's the whole thing, Nobody would say shit about that if it was women. But, it is what it is. I don't know. So that's that. Men's feet on it, like, he didn't have him at gunpoint and he was in the pool. You know what I mean? If that's how he gets down, he likes it, whatever. Who knows? Maybe that was his cousin or, I don't know. I've never asked Landon about that, because I looked at that picture, and that picture seemed outside of what I would consider any kind of public professional life. So I never brought it up. And I'm not knocking you, and I'm not saying that you were. I'm just, yes, I have seen it. And that picture's the one. Anytime I ask for proof of something, I get sent that picture 4 or 5 times. And I'm like, dude, this is not proof.
Slammed my Department of
I do need that, Stubblefoot. I was talking about that with my mother.
Just isn't true. We worked hard. We were happy deputies. We worked hard for our sheriffs. I worked for some great sheriffs that were great role models. There's a lot of things happening now that the current sheriff's department can brag about, and should. The new cars, the new things that are happening, they should brag about that. But
I like what he says here. Listen to this.
Credit goes to the council.
The sheriff's department has a lot of great things. We're fine. The sheriff's department's finally fully staffed. Sheriff's department has new cars. They have raises, but that credit goes to the county council, Landon said, not to Sheriff Sproles. Anybody can go before him. The council figured out the way to make that work and to give the raises and to buy those cars. That's not Sproles doing. Maybe he advocated for it, but a lot of sheriffs have advocated for something. It's the credit goes to the council, to the commissioners for doing this work to make this happen. That's exactly right, Admiral.
When I was at the sheriff's department, we didn't have an ambulance tax, and a lot of the general fund went to the ambulance. We didn't have a 911 tax. A lot of those general funds money went to the 911. You know, we didn't have a jail tax.
You're exactly right, Bojangles. It's seriously.
At times there were 2 people working in the jail. You know, we had an old rickety jail, and no money to run that, no money to staff it. But with all the lit taxes and everything that's come along, and even the ARPA monies, bought a lot of new cars. Anyway, my name's Landon D. I have a lot to say. I appreciate your vote. Next week.
All right, we're going to skip over David Bach over because there's no way you can hear it.
In Newcastle for 26 years, married my wife Brenda. Actually, the day after election will be our 25th. So this would have never happened if she didn't.
He's married to his wife. He worked court security. He worked travel security, getting jail, traveling, getting people in the jail back to like Texas or back to Maine, and he flew on airplanes with people in handcuffs, and it was scary times. Okay, John Sproles stands up and says his piece.
Prosecutor's office. I'm Sproles, and I've been honored to serve as her sheriff for the last 3 years and 4 months, I guess. I have been here in Newcastle for 42 years. My family moved up here to pastor a church. My dad's been a pastor for over 50 years. And my brother's been a funeral director here in the county for over 35 years. Married for a little over 31 years with 4 children. I don't have grandchildren yet.
He doesn't say anything worth a damn.
But have a waiting list a mile long of wonderful experienced officers. We just couldn't get anybody to apply. I mean, we would have
People are applying all the time.
last hiring process. We had 9 laterals. That means 9 people who are already officers at other agencies wanting to come and work at the Henry County Sheriff's Office. And that is due to culture. It is due to taking care of our officers, taking good care of them so they can take good care of the community. So I am looking forward, hoping to be able to serve another term. The first term has been really rebuilding from the ground up. And we have...
He always talks about being this victim, and he can't believe how hard it has been.
It's not as an inmate. Yes. But
Landon kind of cut him off at the knees there, giving himself credit for the hiring and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was fucking beautiful.
That was gold. What Landon said was amazing.
Jail, our new facility is ran very well. There is a good culture there. We care about our inmates. We care about their health and well-being. And
What happened with the sound all of a sudden?
Bill has been mentioned a few times. Hearing some of the horror stories of the old film, it's not as
yeah, Gary, it was great.
But our new jail, our new facility is ran very well. There is a good culture there. We care about our inmates. We care about their health and well-being, and their mental well-being, and their spiritual well-being. And yes, we do need to move some inmates out, and we can do that. And it will save the taxpayers money. But our sheriff's office is in a good state right now, and I want to continue to keep it that way for the next 4 years. So I'd be honored to have your vote a week from today. Thank you.
Now, really quickly, I want to cut in really quickly before we go on to Jim. And I want you guys, I want to show you something that's very important. I want people to see this. And I know we're a little late. Just bear with me. We're moving through this quickly. This is very important. This was published today. Okay. Yes, Mary. All right. Look at this. This says vote no on Sproles. Okay. Stacy Smith wrote this. And her writing says this: paid for by your county tax dollars. So you better share this. You own it. My official statement on the outrageous claims the sheriff made about my case is coming soon. And I just want to let you know that I'm hoping that we'll be able to work with Stacy and we'll be able to bring you her statement. Before the primary election, she's saying that, so this is going to come out. He never used my name or any correct numbers or facts of the settlement on purpose. He has to talk about me because it is the only case that has been settled so far. Now, that is wrong. I don't know why she's saying that specifically, and maybe she's just confused, and that's fine. My case settled. Her case settled. The beanbag case settled. There have been lots of cases that have settled. So, maybe she was the first case that settled or whatever.
Settled too, right?
What?
The bus settled too.
The bus settled. Roger Humphreys settled. The officer. So there have been a lot of cases that have settled. And I'm going to contact her and let her know that. Maybe she was the first to settle, but there have been a lot that have settled. Okay. Moving on. Okay. If a federal judge holds your case open for 3 years, it is not frivolous. This is a federal court. Please keep that in mind. I am still represented by the same firm. I am not scared anymore. This is my legally bound right by the U.S. Constitution. Please share if you believe inmates should be treated like humans. And she put this forward. I'm going to be sharing this and making my own post with this, but I love that she did this. I think it's fantastic. And to my knowledge, well, I was paid out. She's been paid out. Humphrey was paid out. The bus people were paid out. The other one, the beanbag's been paid. Yeah, to my knowledge, they've all been paid out. There's a lot of them that have settled and been paid out.
I think the reason she's mentioned is because her case specifically involves treatment in the jail.
Yeah.
And right now he's covering down on Gully.
Yeah. Okay. Now that might be maybe hers is the first case related to the jail that she's talking about. That might very well be.
And that's not involving him personally.
Yeah.
Because the other case in the jail involves him personally.
Yeah, that's
he's
true.
The one that pulled the trigger.
That's true.
I think that's why he's singling out her case.
Yeah. That's possibly true. Yeah, right. I mean, yeah. And those are just the cases that have settled. There are still many others that are out there waiting, that are floating. I mean, it's nuts.
Good evening. I'm Jim Nicholson, and I'm running for Henry County Sheriff.
I don't know why we can all of a sudden hear this, but I'm glad.
Thank all of you for being here. Thank the Chamber for the invitation. The reason I'm running for sheriff, I want to bring my...
They are part... It's not 14 plus settled. Like my case that's settled is part of the 13, I think. Right, Kate? When we're saying there's 13 tort notices or lawsuits. Am I right or wrong? Are you froze or am I froze? What's happening? I think she's froze. I don't know what the hell's going on.
You're correct.
I ask either or.
Yours is included.
All right. So when we say there's 13 cases, mine is one of those 13 cases. Stacy's would be one of those cases. Roger would be one of those. Okay. Okay. All right.
Stacy, Woolhams, Neal, Bilbrey, Allwood, Troxel, Dalton, Goodman, Scheiss.
Yeah, those are the, that's the wreck. Yeah. The pursuit.
Hampton and Atkinson.
Okay.
That's my list.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
From the auditor.
Auditor's office. Yes. Thank you, auditor's office.
Yes, the auditor's office is amazing. They're so helpful. So thank you to the auditor's office.
Yeah. I hate that David's leaving. Mary. No, Randy Howard's is not 14. I don't consider Randy Howard's an actual tort claim of any notice because no attorney has been involved to my knowledge in that filing. That's something that Randy did. It's not been filed through the clerk's office or through any court of record that's out there. So I do not consider Randy Howard's. Randy Howard's is some words on toilet paper, basically. It's fake.
My law enforcement experience and dedication.
Mary.
I've served in law enforcement here in Henry County for 36 years. Goes a little bit further back than that, though. Before being a law enforcement officer, I started my service when I was 14 years of age when I became an Explorer Scout.
I haven't been served yet.
And then through high school and through graduation.
That's right, Ronnie.
From Vincent's University, and served my internship with the sheriff's office and was then a dispatcher for the Knightstown Police and Fire Departments. I was hired the week after I graduated from college, wasn't old enough to be a police officer yet. I was hired by the state police as dispatcher at the Delaware Post, where I served for 3 years before I was appointed as a Newcastle police officer, where I served in every rank from patrolman, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, all merit positions. And then I was appointed chief of police in 2004 and served until 2012. During that time, I managed budgets, managed personnel, and kept fiscal responsibility and served the community as a dedicated police officer and leader. In 2012, I returned to my permanent rank of captain, where I've served in that capacity for the last 14 years. And I'm commander of the Road Division, Road and Uniform Patrol Division.
Amy.
I would like to continue that service, serving the citizens of Henry County, and dedicating my leadership and fiscal responsibility and integrity to you, the people of Henry County. I ask for your vote on May 5th, next Tuesday. Thank you.
That's what I thought, Jack.
Good evening. My name is Jason Williams, 21-year veteran of the Sheriff's Department. I spent my entire career with the Sheriff's Department. A little bit about me. I'm a single dad, proud girl dad of a 18-year-old senior at Newcastle. She's getting ready to embark and become an adult. St. Joseph in Cincinnati. Studied nursing, follow her in her mom's footsteps, and also play volleyball. So I'm super, super proud of her. She gets to grow up and experience the next chapter of her life. So, but a little bit about me and my career. I've spent on the SWAT team 15 years. I've been a canine officer 17 years. One of the facts that I'm so proud of being a canine officer is both times I was lucky enough to have two amazing canine partners. I raised the money for both those dogs myself through donations and fundraisers. I had a basketball, unfortunately didn't have it here, but I had a basketball tournament. I've sold t-shirts, sweatshirts, golf outings, anything you could possibly do to make money. I did that and was able to reap the benefit of that having a dog. I was in charge of our Operation Pullover, Operation Pullover coordinator for several years. I worked for a drug task force from 2016 to 2018. Anybody that tells you there's not a drug problem in Henry County, they're lying to you. There is. But I wanted to be part of the solution with that. The drug task force is a division that we have. It's a co-division with Newcastle City and Henry County, with multi-jurisdictional thing there with 2 officers from each. That's an important division. And I say it's an important division because when they're successful getting drugs off the street, then we're a much better department. Both departments are much better off. Why I'm running, I question, why are you running for sheriff? Why are you running against your boss? That question has been posed to me numerous times. I can tell you that for me, and from everything I talk to when I talk to people, the public perception of our sheriff's department has to change. The pay's better, the equipment's better, but as a whole, the public perception out here with you guys has to change. You have 30 seconds. Thank you. And so for me, that's my main focus, along with taking care of the deputies. We have good people, and those a lot of young guys, but we have good people. Those people need good leadership, and they need good leadership that will allow them to be leaders in the right way. Thank you. I appreciate your vote next Tuesday on May 5th, and I appreciate the chamber having us tonight. Thank you.
All right. Now, I want to say this real quick before this gets started. You notice how everybody else has done this? They've all been able to stand up and say who they are, why they're running, and anything they wanted. They had 3 minutes to say whatever they wanted to say. They could say whatever they wanted in 3 minutes. That's it. We were told that people could stand up, they were going to say their part, and then they were going to go through this. And then at the end, if we had time, they would allow questions from the audience. They all get 3 minutes, in my opinion, to use their 3 minutes how they so choose. Pay attention to what Randy does.
Next. Hello, my name is Randy Howard. I'm running for sheriff here in Henry County. I'm married. I live in Newcastle. I lived here most of my life. Worked on the Trans-Alaska Pipeline during the Gulf War. Protecting the pipeline.
I gotta stop.
That was my job.
I gotta stop this first. First off, it just dawned on me why he's come to this event and not any of the others, because it was easier for him to walk to this event. The other ones, it would have been much harder to walk to. But, all right, so he starts out. Now, get this. He starts out with this Trans-Atlanta pipeline bullshit. Like that literally nobody on the face of the planet has ever heard him being involved with before. Something that he made up. Kate. It's killing me. Something that he made up on the mouthwash show. It just doesn't make any sense. It just does not make any sense what he says. All right, let's go back. Listen. I'm going to try not to interrupt.
Hello, my name is Randy Howard.
He's just such a goofball. Okay, here we go.
Sheriff here in Henry County. I'm married. I live in Newcastle. I lived here most of my life. Worked on the Trans-Alaska Pipeline during the Gulf War, protecting the pipeline. That was my job. Why I'm running for sheriff, I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Dude, oh God, he what he's been for the last 15 years is construction. You notice though he downplays that though, because he doesn't want people to know that that's basically the only thing he's done for the last 40 years. So he doesn't want to talk about what his job is. He wants to tell people that he was some kind of super secret ninja agent that has Saddam Hussein wanted killed. He was, they had a playing card. We had the playing cards with all the terrorist pictures on them. Some distant foreign land, they have playing cards with his. They always play those games with marbles where they kind of like Connect Four, where they put them down in the thing. There's a marble somewhere with Randy Howard's face on it.
I don't like how it's being run at all. Inmates shouldn't die.
Ray, you got here early. We already went over that. I recorded it and played it for him. I already played that for him.
Why I'm running for sheriff, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't like how it's being run at all. Inmates shouldn't die under the care of our current sheriff. There's some things in our administration in the sheriff department that needs changed. I'm an outsider coming in, trying to get in to make those changes. I'm not tainted by anybody. Nobody owns me. I'm paying for my own campaign. I don't want nobody's money. All I want to do is run and change what needs changed, in my opinion, in the sheriff's department. I'd like to see body cams. I'd like to see.
All right. Well, we've already got body cams, so yay! You can retire as being sheriff.
The sheriff's department pursue the ACA, American Correctional Association jail accreditation.
The accreditation for the jail, dude. Like, that does nothing. I mean, yeah, it's a nice, cool plaque to hang up on the wall, but other than that, it doesn't mean anything.
Accreditation, I would like to see that brought, as that brings us to a high standard here in Henry County as far as the jail operations goes. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to field questions. If anyone has any.
What? I heard that and I was like, bing! I got a question. This dude is going to use his 3 minutes to field questions? I wonder if anybody asks a question.
Questions about some of the things I'm saying. And
well, he wants to field questions about some of the things he's saying. I had two specifically. What could you describe to us a little bit of what you're talking to when you're saying that you were protecting the pipe somewhere in the Alaskan wilderness? What was going on there?
The question is all, I've not been able to attend some of the other forums simply because of an illness in my family. So,
what did he say? I've not been able to attend other forums because of my family?
I have time. I'd like to field a few questions if anyone has them.
We have body cameras. It's not a question, but we do have body cameras everywhere.
Okay, so straight off. Because, hey, if you got people in a room and you just open it up and say, all right, it's free open speaking, you're guaranteed two things. You're guaranteed if there are people in that room and one of them is Christopher Bilbrey and one of them is John Sproles, both of those idiots are going to talk. So he actually beat me to it. Sproles opened up and Sproles said, well, just to speak real quick, we already have body cams. So like Sproles and I was like up there with him doing the old 1-2. He didn't even know what to do. Sproles came up and said, hey, we've already got body cams, just to let you know. And then Sproles looked at me and tagged out and said, hey, you're up. And I then did it. So here we go.
Body cameras is great, but we'd like to see cameras in cars. That would be
So he's been tripping over what he's been saying. He doesn't mean we need body cams. He means we need dash cams, which is something that Christopher Bilbrey has been saying. So Randy's now stealing my ideas. and I wasn't going to let that go. So now I open up my big mouth. Let's hear what we're saying.
Question, but we do have body cameras. Everybody does.
Body cameras is great, but we'd like to see cameras in cars. That would clarify a lot of issues. You have cameras in cars. My background, Mr. Bilbrey, is
So I said,
10 years of
can you explain your background? This is something that I've been trying to get this numbskull to answer for since the day that he filed. Just tell me what your background is, you idiot. And he's like, it's funny to me when clearly he heard me. I said, could you explain your background? And he says, my background, Mr. Bilbrey? I don't get it. What do you mean? Why did you have to repeat that? Just tell me what you did. People who do that are putting extra time in there so they can think about the lie they're getting ready to say. My background, Mr. Bilbrey?
My background, Mr. Bilbrey, is I worked for 10 years at the Department of Correction.
I worked for 10 years at the Department of Corrections. So I hear that and I'm like, okay, well, like when? From when to when? So then I'm just firing questions at him at this point. From when to when? You worked there for 10 years. If I told you that I worked someplace for 10 years, I have no problem telling you. I have no problem telling you when it started and when it ended. Even if for some unknown reason, I got like if I started in 2001 and I'm like, well, it was 2000 to, whatever. You should be able to get us really damn close, okay?
I trained numerous police officers. I've also trained police.
So then I say, can you tell us when you started that? And then that's when he's like, please don't interrupt me. And then at that point, that's when the moderators step in. And the moderators are yelling at me, and I'm like, "What are you yelling at me for? He's the one asking. He's the one. He's the one."
Don't interrupt me, Mr. Bilbrey.
Excuse me, gentlemen. You have 3 minutes to tell about yourself. Questions will come later.
He said he'd take questions.
Well, that's not the way this works tonight.
I said he said he would take questions, and the guy said that's not how this works.
So you have about 50 seconds left.
Okay, thank you. Well, I did say I would fill questions. Am I allowed to do that?
We will have a question and answer just in a few minutes. That's why we're working with a 3-minute time frame. Okay. So it allows us to have the citizens be able to ask questions. So again, I think now you have about 43 seconds. Would you like to use that? So
then all this time, I'm like, dude, by the time you've said all this, time's up. Like, well, look, you should have just let him answer my damn questions. There's everybody in the building wanted to hear my question. Everyone, no one would have said anything. If you just let me question him, people would have been fine with that. Yeah, right. I said that to somebody. I'm like, the only reason I'm daring to ask him is because I know that he doesn't have his PR-24 on him. So, yeah, I'm happy.
No, I'll just wait for the question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, candidates for Sheriff of Henry County. And
so that was the end. They're like, you got 43 seconds. Why didn't he wrap it up? That's so awkward and discombobulated and so weird. Yeah, I don't know what just happened there. I don't know. Because you know what? You know why? Because what I was asking him was a legitimate question. Listen to me, Eric. If one doesn't think that he has trouble following the rules, I question what's wrong with one. Because everyone should know that he clearly has trouble following rules. Yes, that is a fair statement.
I have listed here, I think, 2 more points.
And I do have it from good sources that said that when Randy and I were kind of going at it for a minute there, and it got kind of tense, that both Jim and Sproles both cracked a little smile. So, you know, it's sometimes it's just very strange.
Do we have?
Oh, dude! Listen. I hope the people down there. PR 24. Did I say 22 or did I say 24? Because it is 24. If I said 22, I did it by accident. But yeah, that was very bizarre. So then this ends. Okay, that ends. And then from there we go on to the third and final video of the event, and that then brings on.
I've got two really good things from Knightstown. I'm married again.
Okay, now so here's the deal. I'm not actually. You guys can go watch this. You guys all know that I'm supporting Steve. I want Steve to win. Here's Steve and Chase Heinhold. This is the first forum that he's played. I'm actually going to skip through this because they both just introduced themselves. And people in Henry County, if you don't know who these two people are, you probably shouldn't be voting because they've been running for a while now, and they've both been apparently trying to get this out. Steve does a really good job, and we heard him. We had Steve on the program. I'm actually going to jump to the these questions that they were asked because I'm very I want you to hear something. And Ray, you missed this.
And I'm married Rob the White. Some of you might have went to
Steve's a good dude.
I'm proud that you've done that.
Okay. The clerk candidates, they just duke it out. Basically, they both say who they are. We've talked to both of these guys. You've heard everything they have to say.
But not
Rotz was there. Rotz did something very weird. Rotz gave an answer, told a thing, and then he said a line. He said this line. He said, I'm really, really ready for grandchildren. I want grandchildren. I want them before I'm dead or something like that. And I like serving the people. And then it was like we had like a rewind or a glitch in the matrix because then he said that exact same line again, identically. Like it was so weird. It was like my glitch in the matrix moment. And I'm like, damn it, my glitch in the matrix moment was with Rotz. That really bothers me. So now we are going on to the questions.
Candidates for treasurer of Henry County.
Like I the Henry County manages multi-million-dollar budget.
All right. Now, I got a real problem with this. And you tell me what your thought is here.
We'll move on to the next.
I actually have a question for both commissioners.
So this man out of the blue says, I have a question for both commissioners. Okay. Well, who is that man? Who is this man? Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. We'll play that. These questions are important. So this person says, I have a question for both commissioners. I'm thinking, okay.
Is that all right?
Yes.
Given
and he doesn't say who he is. Now, real quickly, this person. Well, I'm not. The person is JB Chapman. Okay, JP Chapman or BJ Chapman. I don't know what his name is. Peanut Butter Jelly Chapman. JB, PJ, something like that. He introduced himself to me, but I was inundated.
On to the next.
I actually have a question for both commissioners. Is that all right?
Yes.
Given the Henry County manages multi-million-dollar budget, what professional experience do you have overseeing large budgets or managing significant financial responsibilities? Additionally, what education, training, or qualifications do you believe prepare you to serve effectively as county commissioner and responsibly manage taxpayer dollars? As a follow-up for financial.
Whoa, one question.
Just one? Okay.
One question.
All right, let's do that.
Other people
So my thing here, Mr. Chapman, is, first of all, like, it's just not off the top of your head. He's reading this question that he's like, has went through the trouble of texting out in his phone. Are we not to believe that he probably got together with his nephew or his son-in-law or whoever this is, and they planned this? And the thing is, they thought that they were going to make Steve look stupid because, yeah, Steve's just an old country preacher and he's not done anything. And here, this 24-year-old kid, he's got the riches of the family farm, and he's been, budgeting millions of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he worked for Aldi, a German company, and they, it was hundreds of billions and millions of dollars. Well, let's listen to how this answered. And here's what's really crazy is, he asks it in a way, and Steve starts talking, and Heinhold just rudely interrupts over him and he's like, I'll answer this question because I got to quickly answer it because I need to remember what we pre-planned.
That's a multi-layered question, JB. Can you narrow that down to one aspect of that question? Yeah. You got
Now, wait a minute. BJ wrote this question down before we came to this event. And BJ literally had his phone. We can see him. BJ's reading this multi-layered question down. Okay? He had to, the question lasted, a minute. He just talked and was asking all these things. And Steve says, that was a multifaceted question. Can you kind of narrow that down to, what are you wanting to know? And BJ's talking to him. And BJ's son-in-law says, I will answer the question. Whoa. They're talking, dude. Hasn't anyone ever told you to calm down and let your elders speak? And then, don't overcut these people. They were in the middle of a conversation, dude.
Multi-layered question, JB. Can you narrow that down to one aspect of that question? Yeah. You got
Go ahead, answer the question. I have been involved in multiple projects that we have to stay on task and have to stay on budget. And if we don't stay on budget, then we have the potential to lose our job. So, and I act when I'm working for another company, or if I'm working on the farm and I'm trying to manage a budget, I act like it's not my money. And it's
when I'm working for another company or I'm working for the farm, I act like it's not my money. Well, when you're working for another company, it's not your money, bro. But I'm glad. I'm glad that when you're working for another company, you don't in there saying like, "Oh, it's all mine."
The other people's money that I'm managing, so I take it very seriously. I was in college that taught me how to manage money as well. I have to manage money so I can get a loan.
Look at this stupid Steve Duggar. He didn't go to college. Chase Heinhold went to college, though.
The next time, so I can put on another crop. So I can't show him showing a loss every year either. So I hope that answers the question.
Now this guy didn't go to college, but let's hear what old Steve has to say.
Several experiences managing a budget. One being with a church. When I started, we had $16,000 budget.
Look how stupid he is when he ran a $16,000 budget. That idiot, that poor idiot.
That's it. You know how churches are. When I left,
something people are laughing. What? No, wait, what? When you left, what?
$1.5 million.
Oh, when he left, it was $1.5 million. No, ooh, what? That's weird. How can he don't even have enough toes that can count up to that much?
30 years later, I was on the council, and I think the council's budget, I don't know what it is right now, but I think it was $30-some million.
Wait. Hold on. Wait. I don't think when they pre-planned this that they thought or they recall or they remembered that Steve was an elected member to the Henry County Council, in which the single job, it's not like city council where they are legislative and they deal with this and they deal with the fiscal side. The sole job that the county councils have in the state of Indiana, they are not like city councils. City people think that they're identical. They're not. The county commissioners have the job mostly. The county commissioners is a mixture of the mayor and the council in a city. The county council is the fiscal body solely. That's their sole duty. So I think that they kind of overlooked that Steve was a member of the Henry County Council, and it's not like it's going to be lost on him. He also works in his family company that is a very successful company currently right now throughout Henry County. So this dude is not an idiot by any stretch of the imagination. Steve is highly intelligent, and I get it that maybe he didn't go to college. I don't even know. Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe he did. But I just get this. I get this impression that Chase and BJ think that they're better than Steve. And I think they got a long way to go before that could even be remotely a chance.
But I was only one of 7 people, and I'm not just the only one that decides who's going to be. There's a lot of times I was out voting, on a lot of issues. So, but as far as being a councilman, I do have 8 years experience working specifically with the finances in Henry County and learning where money went. A lot of people think that, well, you got this money, you can just spend it. You can't. What money that is in certain areas you can't spend somewhere else. It's there. I've not always agreed with that, but that's what the state board of accounts says that you've got to do. I didn't agree with the school board budget when we had it because we had general fund, transportation fund, we had all these funds. And an example was 1 year we had $275,000 left over in the transportation fund. We had other funds over here that needed money. But you can't take it from the transportation fund. They said if we don't spend the money, we're going to lose the money. Sorry.
Yeah, listen. I don't even know after listening to what Steve said. Steve's talking using, real world experiences and talking about real world events in government and talking about being a part of that and serving on boards and this and that and serving on the council as an elected council member. I don't even remember Heinhold's answer. And when Heinhold and I were arguing back and forth about him coming on the program, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the absolute reason why Chase Heinhold is an idiot, because he didn't go to the Forum 1. He didn't go to Forum 2. He went to this forum, and people have got to hear exactly 5 minutes of him talking, and the 5 minutes that he came off like an asshole, where if he would have came on here, we could have had a long form conversation, and maybe he wouldn't have seemed that arrogant, that off-putting. Maybe people could have seen the real human, and that's why he is short-sighted, and I got a problem. Go ahead.
All we really talked about was that I come from money, but when I'm working for somebody else, I pretend their money isn't mine.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, what does that have to do with multi-million-dollar budgets? And what does that have any kind of bearing on the commissioners? They don't do a budget. They have to remain within a budget, but they're not creating it.
Yeah.
And Admiral was asking, why did he bring up the church stuff first? I thought that was brilliant.
It was great.
It was perfect.
Because
showing that I was on a church board for 30 years. So I'm a good church going man, which is always a big thing around
Sure.
this area. And he showed huge growth
Yeah.
in that budget, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was perfect.
Yeah. No, I was fine with that because
It does sound like Sproles, doesn't it?
yeah. Wait, what does this say? And word on the street is that Chase and his people think Steve was what I don't know what that means. Was Steve was part of? I don't know what you mean. Like that Steve put me up to it.
Yeah, I think that's what they mean.
I have never. I'll be honest. If you want me to be, I'll be perfectly honest. For the Heinhold people or whatever, I didn't ask Steve. Steve didn't know I was going to do that. Steve didn't ask me to do that. And I'll be honest. Probably, if the truth be told, Steve would have rather I not do it, because I don't think Steve operates that way. And probably, truth be told, Steve probably, maybe even just this pinch, thinks that maybe I shouldn't have done that because it might have hurt him, because people think, ooh, that's negative. No, I definitely didn't get orders from the Steve camp to do that. That's definitely something my own. Listen to all Ray and those people have to do is they have to go back and listen to they have to go back and listen to my rant that I went on tonight about all of the prosecutor candidates not being able to figure out their phones and emails and things. And they'll know, like, that's not, Tony Saunders didn't put me up to that. I have a real problem with candidates running for a job interview that doesn't take every opportunity to talk to their bosses. And I'm not one of those bosses, because I don't vote or live in Randolph County or Henry County. I don't even know what county it is, but I am the conduit. I am the telephone line between the job seeker and the bosses. And Heinhold not seeing that, being short-sighted, lets me know something's broken inside him.
Okay. Someone else have a question?
That's close.
This is for the prosecutor candidates. Last week, they had a trial that had been waiting for about a year and a half, and they wanted to go through it. And some of the candidates currently sit as prosecutor employees. And so I'm asking the candidates, that happened, but what steps are they going to take?
The question is more thought out than the answer.
Dollars being spent, that, we didn't have a case prepared a year and a half, and day one, we get a mistrial. And so how does that be handled differently?
Okay. So just briefly, she asked the question that Tony Saunders brought up. I played this earlier. Tony Saunders put out a video yesterday, a really good video, where he's talking about experience in the prosecutor's office mattering. Tony said that he was involved in a case in the beginning of the week, Monday, where they had a jury trial. And at this jury trial, where they had the jury set and they were getting ready, a mistrial occurred. The judge declared a mistrial because the chief deputy prosecutor lacked, this is crazy to me, the chief deputy, so the number 2 in the office, lacked the trial experience to know when and how to put forth evidence. There are rules of evidence in the state of Indiana in trial procedure. And he did something wrong, which caused a major issue, and it caused a mistrial, which, hey, maybe that's good for the defendant. Maybe he's done. Maybe he won't face anything. They can always look at doing something, whatever. But the thing is, this cost lots of money. It cost lots of time, wasted money. And this was a major, just a flop. It was a bad thing. And Saunders is talking about the fact that, an experienced attorney would not have made that error. And I agree. And so this lady wants to know more about that.
Want to respond to that? Would you please stand?
No, the Chief Deputy Prosecutor is Rick Frank. Rick Frank is the, which is, dude, you got two names. That lets me know there's a problem straight away.
And each of you will get. So whoever wants to go first, it's fine.
I think that's where experience matters. I've got over 25 years experience. You need to know what you're doing when you go in that courtroom. It's my understanding that it was a simple mistake that was made to cause that mistrial, something that a seasoned trial attorney would not have done.
Whoa, dude, that
It wasted
haircut,
a lot of
man.
time and it wasted a lot of money. You've got to be experienced in knowing what you're going to do. You don't have to admit evidence before the court. My last murder trial, I think there was over 120 pieces of evidence admitted at trial. If you don't know how to get that in, you're not going to finish your trial. So that's where experience matters. I think the prosecutor in that case was lacking trial experience.
So that case, I work for the prosecutor's office currently, but I was not involved in that case. Ethically, I cannot talk about that case because it is a pending case. I can say that I have never had that happen to me because in my 20 years of experience, I've never lost a jury trial. I've never had one that went to a mistrial. But ethically, I just can't talk about that case because it's a pending case, and I'm not going
this guy.
break my ethics for some campaign promise or campaign
I like this
slogan
guy.
or-
I like
or
to be friends with this guy.
soundbite that would cost you guys an experienced prosecutor. So thank you.
Well, that was my case. I won that case because, and it's all public record, within half an hour of starting the presentation of evidence, the prosecutor made a mistake. And it was a serious mistake. And it was due to him not knowing how to try this type of case. And it's one of those where the old rule is you can't sneak up on them if they know you're coming. Well, when you're a good attorney, when you know what you're doing, you prepare both sides of the case. You know what they're going to do. You know what you're going to do.
Listen, I was disappointed 4 years ago when the people of Henry County did not elect him prosecutor 4 years ago. I wanted Saunders to win 4 years ago. And now I'm going to say this, and I know that he sometimes watches this program, and I don't know if he's going to take offense to this. I don't mean this in any offensive way whatsoever, because it's not a good thing necessarily as a prosecutor. He kind of reminds me of like the old school, like TV villains a little bit, like the pointed mustache, and like, I love this guy. I'm a big fan of his. So Ray, he reminds me of a better, smarter, Better Call Saul attorney. I like him. He's smart, and I'm gonna be really honest. When I first started talking to Amy Bell, I told Amy that I liked him, but I wasn't sure about him. I wasn't sure. And through this election, he has really changed my opinion. And I like him. I would really like to be friends with this guy. I'm friends with a lot of attorneys, talk to him on and off the record about different things. I really like him as a person. He's interesting to me. He's an interesting study. And I don't know what it is, but he's like the right enough kind of like good, bad, for a prosecutor. I think to be a prosecutor, you gotta know how to walk on both sides of it a little bit. And I'm not saying he's ever done anything illegal. I'm not trying to be offensive at all. Everybody else is like too produced, and Saunders is just himself. He's not trying to be anybody other than himself. He's not putting on a performance. But the performance that he does put on, because as an attorney, you got to have a little bit of theater in you. I think he knows when to turn that off, and he's good in front of a crowd. He's working this crowd good, like an attorney should, like he would in the courtroom. The ladies did a horrible job. I just got to be honest. I was shocked.
You also have plans A, B, and C.
I do think he's a good person. I think that he stands. I think he does not like, injustice. I do feel that with him. I do feel like he's a person that stands for the little man. I do feel like he would be a good prosecutor.
Depending on if something goes sideways. That comes from experience. That's what I have. I knew what was going on in that trial. I knew where they were headed. And the motion was made, co-counsel made the motion, but we knew where it was going. And that mistake was made. The judge called it out. And the judge said he granted the mistrial due to the misconduct of the prosecutor's office. And it was a huge mistake. And it's something that never should happen with someone who is the chief deputy prosecutor. And it will not happen with me because I know what I'm doing and I know how to prosecute.
Now, I like this. He offended Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen gets up to correct the record. That wasn't misconduct. Well, I tell you what, you give an attorney, you tell one thing to 10 different attorneys and you'll get 10 different results or thoughts of how something went down.
I defend them. I have to know what the state's going to do. So I basically have to adopt both sides of the case to know how to win. And I win. Thank you.
I like him.
I wasn't involved with that case either, but what I can say about it is I read the order from the judge. Mistrials happen occasionally. What the order stated was that we went through the events of the trial, but as to the term misconduct that was used by Mr. Saunders, that's patently false.
It wasn't misconduct. You can't say we did misconduct. Well, it wasn't a bunch. It wasn't like they didn't get a mistrial because it was all good.
You have different witnesses of different ages, and there are some witnesses that are of such a young age that there are different procedures that you can follow as to what types of evidence are admitted and how they are admitted. This doesn't happen all the time. These aren't common issues that come up in every single trial. What I would do in a case like that is, prior to the case, I would file a trial brief and use that trial brief to help educate the court in case the judge isn't fresh on the law, because that happens sometimes.
So this was not misconduct. It was the judge was too stupid. Is that what Mr. Allen is saying here? The judge was too stupid to know that the prosecutor's office was in the right. And it's because cases don't come up like this all the time. And, you have different kinds of witnesses. And really, it's everybody else's fault except the prosecutors. Okay.
You don't see cases with those issues every single day. So prepping both sides of the case, what am I thinking as a prosecutor? What's the defense going to be thinking? I'm also going to be thinking, how might this land with the court? Is the court going to know how to make a ruling that's appropriate under these circumstances? Because education and telling the court what's important when there are legal issues is just as important as presenting your case as strongly as you can to the jury.
Yes.
So that's how I would handle that. Thank you.
Yes.
So I used to work in the prosecutor's office. I haven't worked there for a couple of years when the administration changed. I left and started working at Bilbrey and Chafin, which has been a great place to work. So I can't speak much to this specific case. There's not a lot of information out about it yet, except for the court's order. I'm a little confused about the idea of educating the judge.
I thought that was interesting.
That said, I do think that being prepared is probably the ultimate to any case that you go into, any trial that you go into. You need to make sure that you have thought through all of your arguments, that you have all of your evidence laid out, and you know how you're going to get that into evidence before the judge, before the jury. If you can't do that, you're not going to be able to get a conviction ultimately. And so I know that for me, preparation has always been one of my primary goals in everything that I do. And I would just continue doing that to avoid having mistrials, which really both the prosecutor's office.
The prosecuting candidates too. It was mentioned tonight that we're going to have people sitting in jail waiting to go to trial. Where do you see the bottleneck, and how are you going to solve that problem?
Now, this is a really good question. This is a really good question asked by Wilson on here. And he's asking the prosecutor's candidates, because we've heard the sheriff's candidates answer this question, but he's asking the prosecutor's candidates, what can they do to get this bottleneck out of the way? Now, listen to this. Yeah, Ronnie Wilson. Definitely. Great question.
I can tell you from experience, I've been on the other side for over 10 years in Henry County. I am telling you, it's almost impossible to get discovery from the prosecutors. I had a sheet that I brought to one prior forum that a Madison County case, there were 4 pieces of discovery emailed to the defense attorney within 10 days of the charges being filed. That does not happen in Henry County. I'll be lucky if I get something within 6 months. It's surprisingly starting to happen in the last couple of months, but I can guess why. Also,
now, I do like what she's saying there, and I do agree that's a problem. If that is going on, that's really crazy. This is Kathy Eek. Kathy Eek. It's like, yeah.
we do not give her plea agreements. I will tell you one story. I had a female client that pled guilty in November. She went to 10 years at Department of Corrections. It took me 2 years to get a plea agreement from the prosecutor's office on that. These cases need to move faster because the prosecutors need to do their job. They're not doing their job. They're not moving these cases. They file the charges, they sit in jail, and they just sit there and do nothing. That's where the bottleneck's coming from. I can fix that because I will make sure discovery gets out to defense attorneys. I will make sure plea agreements are given out quickly.
Man, her face, dude. Whoa.
Okay. One more question. I'm sorry. Bottlenecks occur from lack of communication between attorneys. As an attorney, prosecutor's office, we have to work with defense counsel.
Christy Brock.
Work with some, it's not communication lines.
So the 2 females are Kathy Eek, that one, and then the little one that looked like she rode in on a horse is Christy Brock.
Aren't always the best. Being able to sit down and just talk case after case after case out with the defense counsel is very important.
And this guy is what's this guy's name? Vince Vaughn. This guy's Vince Vaughn.
One thing I would like to add is that perhaps one of the reasons recently some cases haven't started moving quicker is because I've started to work there, and that's one of the things that
I had to leave this, so I left here. Oh yeah, Kyle Allen, Vince Vaughn, it's all the same thing. I had to leave, so I didn't get to hear this question, this answer from him.
Jails come from prisoners talking to each other. You get on Google, they become Google lawyers or whatever, and they are under the impression that if they draw it out, prosecutor's office will keep giving them better plea agreement. So they sit there because a lot of them, if they're outside in the jail, they're going to be sitting in the prison somewhere. So one incarceration's same as another to them. So they really don't have anything to lose. If you want to stop that bottleneck, you just have to start taking the people to trial, putting forth the effort, the extra work.
Take people to trial.
Otherwise, they
absolutely.
Sit there forever because jail's jail. What's the difference?
I don't think we have time for that because I would have to give our candidates 3 minutes.
Look, right there. That was the sheriff wants to talk about this.
I want to thank everyone for coming this evening to this forum, and I want to thank all the candidates who represent different parts of Henry County for coming tonight and participating, and also citizens for coming and participating. And for those that need a reminder, election day is next week. So thank you for coming tonight, participation. Just a couple of housekeeping items here before we go. There are cookies over here and there's water. Please feel free to take some with you. And also, if some of the candidates want to stick around a few minutes and some of the constituents want to stick around and maybe talk with some of the candidates, I think they're willing to do that. So you can do that, do a little bit. And thanks again to
I gotta be honest. I just didn't really kind of like the attitude that the people that were in charge of this had. They just were very, I don't know. I didn't like their attitude too much. I don't know. It was something. I don't know. I didn't like them. So that was that. Okay. Oh God, why can't I ever figure this shit out? So that was that, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to let you guys have that. We did have the situation with Randy. You heard what Randy and I said going into that, and then you heard Randy get to have his performance there. If anyone wants to hear all of that a little bit better and more in depth and hear the other candidates that we skipped over and other things that we skipped over, you can go find that on Kevin Ritchie's page. Kate put that in there on the I just want to quickly, before we go, I know we've been here really, really, really long. We're going to get through this really quick. But I want to tell you guys about the update on the federal investigation situation in Henry County. Update on the federal investigation. I did send out a record request yesterday. Whenever, 2 days ago, whatever, to the Henry County, I guess it was Sunday into Monday, to the commissioners and to the county attorney and to the sheriff's department. And as I told you guys last night, that I wanted to know basically some questions. Sproles had basically said that he was giving some breaking news to the Boss Hogs of Liberty. He stated that the case had been investigated by the highest investigating entity at the federal level, and that they had said that there was no wrongdoing, that this was breaking news. When Jeremiah Morrill asked him what organization investigated it, he said, I'm going to have to leave it at the way that I stated because that's what they had requested him to do. Betsy Mills, who is a county counselor and the guest host on the Boss Hogs of Liberty, said, can you tell me when that was decided? To which the sheriff said, that was decided 2 days ago. It might have been 3. So the question that I had was, which federal agency was he referring to? Did they provide any documentation? Was that what was the scope of their investigation? What did the sheriff mean when he said yes, because that's the way they requested me to leave it? Is he implying that a governmental agency investigated actions or inactions at the jail involving Nicholas Gawley and that incident? And that they said, hey, we investigated this, but you got to keep it all private, below. Then I requested all emails from the sheriff, John Sproles, Chief Deputy Josh Smith, and any other employee from the jail and or sheriff's department in connection to this investigation, and all documentation that they would have issued. And I sent that to everyone. Well, Josh Smith responded to my email, and this is what his response to me was. Mr. Bilbrey, an independent federal agency, conducted a review of all video and documents associated with Mr. Gawley's incarceration preceding his death. We can confirm that the matter was thoroughly evaluated by an outside federal authority. We were notified of their findings via telephone on April 22nd. Specifically, the agency mentioned there was no indication of criminal misconduct by the employees of the Henry County Sheriff's Office and the detention center related to Nick Gawley matter. Outside of the telephone call, this agency did not provide any documentation of their findings. The Sheriff's Office does not have any emails or documentation related to your request. Respectfully, Josh Smith. And respectfully, that is a load of bullshit. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Now, attorney Mark Nicholson did comment on my short that I made of Sproles saying this. Keep in mind, Mark Nicholson is the attorney representing the Gawley family, and attorney Mark Nicholson said, "This is news to me." So this sounds like, I'm telling you, the sheriff's department is being ran by a man that is the exact opposite side of the coin of Randy Howard. Folks, do not elect Randy Howard. And if you would not elect Randy Howard, then you cannot elect John Sproles. Do not do either one of those god horrible, awful things. Do not do it. This is insane. And I honestly, respectfully cannot believe that Josh would have put his name to this. An independent federal agency conducted a review of all video, and they called us on the phone.
And the sheriff didn't request something in writing? Because I sure as hell would have.
Yeah. Right. It's all good here. Yeah, right. Well, I'll be contacting the attorney tomorrow by the phone, and we'll be finding out just what the hell is going on here. This is wild. This is nuts. It is inappropriate. It's insane. And yeah. I just can't believe it. So when Sproles is investigating people, does he call them? Yeah. Well, yeah, right. It's just nuts to me that this nonsense is happening. Okay, the only other thing that I have to say before we leave, and we are winding it down now. I just put on the good night sign there. I do want to quickly bring this up. Because this has finally been put out. There is a Muncie City Council meeting that is set for Monday. And when they put out the agenda, I normally pick the agenda up and bring it out and let you guys see this. So I am going to put this agenda up here so that you guys can see this agenda. This is going to be an interesting meeting because I have some things to say that I want to be said on the record at the meeting about the SBOA, the Parks Board, the mayor, just a whole lot of the elected government. I have some questions that I need to ask of Dale Basham again. And so that's going to be a meeting, and it is going to be a very interesting meeting. However, I want you to look at this. Muncie City Council meeting agenda, May 4th, regular meeting, 7 p.m., first floor, City Hall, Pledge of Allegiance, invocation, citizen recognition, roll call, and then all of the meeting, all of the counselors are there. Approval of the minutes, appointments to boards and commissions at council discretion. They have to appoint the Beech Grove Cemetery Board. There's one person they have to put. And then Community Center Development Advisory Committee, one council member, MITS Board, one council member, and the MITS Board, one. Okay, so they gotta put people on those boards. And then we go down to committee reports. There appears to be nothing. Ordinances previously introduced. There are no ordinances previously introduced. Going on to new ordinances. There are no new ordinances. Resolutions. There are no new resolutions. Oh, no, I lied. Sorry, there are. Ha ha. There is. Resolution 7-26, a resolution recognizing May 2026 as ALS Awareness Month, which that's important. And then we go into tabled resolutions. Tabled 4-26, Common Council of the City of Muncie, Indiana resolution approving interlocal agreement for the housing and operation of a municipal drone base. And I don't know why this is still on the table. This is not a thing anymore. So they need to pull this off the table. They need to withdraw it and kill it and send it on. We need to not have this appear for the next 6 months. That's stupid. We then go into other business, that is public comments and adjournment. So this meeting is going to be a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, which means we should have plenty of time to get it recorded, get home, and have some fun that night. But I definitely I got a performance that I'm going to put on. If they don't have a job to do, and they're not going to be putting anything forward or doing anything, I got some things to say. So I think we'll have some fun with that.
I have a different opinion than you on that drone thing.
Okay.
I think they need to leave it on the table so it shows up on this agenda every month until it falls off. Just to remind people how the mayor likes to go around behind people's backs when he doesn't get his way immediately.
Here's the thing. Well, if they're going to do that, then somebody needs to bring it up and they need to talk about that, because not doing that.
I get that, but
I'm fine with that if that's the way they want to do it. But someone would bring it up, because just leaving it on there, nobody's going to have a clue.
Right.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, I think that would make sense. I'd be fine with that.
Leave it on there and remind the public.
Yeah, I know. I'm down. Yeah. So, good thinking, Kate. I'm down with that. I'll bring that up, and I will make that suggestion. I will make that suggestion to them that they should leave it on there, and then watch when I do that. Then they're going to say they'll bring it on. That's hilarious. All right. Can anything be done about them for those false statements? Well, to be honest, to giving benefit of the doubt, we don't know that they're false. It just sounds like bullshit. But I am going to be looking into more of this, because something sounds just absolutely off the wall here. So I will be digging further into this, and I will let you know. You will know the minute that I know. So, all right, folks, thank you all for everything. I want to thank Sheri Chafin for coming on. Thank you all for watching, and it's been an interesting evening. We will be back here tomorrow, and tomorrow night, episode 653, we're going to be talking to Jason Williams, Republican candidate running for Henry County Sheriff. And then tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about the big insurance push. Kate's done a lot of work on this, and so I think it's going to be important. So you guys tune in for that. We'll be bashing the Henry County Sheriff's Department. All right, take care. Good night. Or really just John Sproles and him being a liar. All right, you guys take care. Good night. God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.